What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. Hasbro is actually listening to us, and it's so wild because it's for so long we've been clamoring for, hey, you started a team, complete the team. And there's so many that are just in need of, say, one, maybe even two members from being completed. And we can knock out so many of these teams and then move on to another group that needs a whole lot of members to complete them, like the Imperial Guard. So we've seen teams that just need one member left. That's Alpha Flight, Excalibur, X Force, X Factor version 2. There are lots of teams here that could use one member, two member to be completed. And we're seeing now Hasbro starting to take advantage of their 2-pack format as a means of getting teams knocked out faster. We've seen the Avengers, Black Knight, and Cersei. So that gets more of that 90s era team completed. But they're actually using this to knock out a team that I don't think any of us had in our 2023. This team's surprisingly going to get knocked out by the end of the year, bingo card, more so than the Squadron Supreme. You take a look at this roster. This is, of course, Marvel's answer to the Justice League. So we've got Agent Coulson. He's basically the same version as we got in the MCU version. We don't necessarily need a new one of him. Nighthawk standing in for Batman, Blur for Flash, Hyperion, Superman, Dr. Spectrum, of course, is Green Lantern, and you're going to lose all your nerd cred points if you cannot figure out who Zarda's analogy in DC Comics is. And so far, surprisingly, Hasbro is like focused on this team. They're like, we can get these guys knocked out and done fast. We'll just take advantage of these 2-packs. So already we've seen Hyperion and Dr. Spectrum. I think outside of the pin joints, this is a really great set. The only problem, of course, those pin joints look so ugly, especially when you see Dr. Spectrum here and he's got these ridiculous little tabs here connecting that blue into the yellow and the blue into the red section. You just wish that was something they would fix, especially since they have the technology. They can improve on what they've already started. And you love to see that switched out. But today we got a big surprise reveal of the next 2-pack coming for the Squadron Supreme. That's Nighthawk and it's Blur. I think they did a really nice job on these characters here. Nighthawk looks really great. I love the way his colors are popping off here. Blur looks really good as well. You see Nighthawk slash batarangs there. His cape looks great. It's got that kind of bat short theme to it. The helmet piece has really nice edges. It's got a nice stern expression. This is a character I think is really going to pop on the shelf just because of his dynamic look and how you can pose him. He's got, looks like that Vulcan body, that Vulcan mold, but he's a really nice looking figure. Then we look over here next at Blur, and he's got a really great color scheme as well. That yellow and black, the yellow jacket colors really look great here in this attire. So got a nice little setup of these two. And these are 2 more members to complete the Squadron Supreme. So of course, if you're looking at this group here, this modern take on Squadron Supreme, we're just one more member, official member away from completion. But if they wanted to, they can complete the whole modern team by having Zarda and Coulson in a 2-pack. And that's really wild when you consider so many teams who could just use one of these 2-packs to really get knocked out, to get completed, and to get further along the way to completing a team. And I think it's just funny when you take a look at the Squadron Supreme and they look really cool, but this is a modern version of them, so they don't have as many to go toe to toe against the Avengers like we've seen with some other versions of this squad themselves, where there's a whole bunch more that can fight and tangle with the Avengers. Of course, I'm talking about the George Perez version with Kurt Busiek, where we've got Shift. We've got this version of Blur / Wizard Zarda looking more like Wonder Woman. And then we've got the Coil version of Green Arrow. I mean, there's just a lot of characters here. And of course, I'm blanking on all their names right now, but a little bit more members to add to the team. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more in addition to the ones we've already got. So I'd love to see them added to the team. And this would be another one I think they could do really easily in a set of 2-packs. So we've got these 2, got these 2, got these 2. We've already got a Hyperion without the mask, so that could work just as well with no problems or issues. But then I was like, well, shoot, if we're going to do 2-packs, if we're going to knock out more team members going this direction, here's some other ones that would be really great candidates for this 2-pack program to get more team members knocked out. And of course, I got to start off first and foremost with the defenders, because we've gotten most of this squad. We've gotten a lot of these team members here already. But in the interest of completing the team, lots of different ways they could go here. So we could probably use a better version of Hellcat, one with better articulation, better colors, because mine is like a mess of yellow. So that would be really nice to get a better version of her, compare her with Moondragon. And this is her more sanitized version of her original costume. So no dental floss thong, but it pretty much gets that bathing suit look. So it kind of work for you. Then we could put Gargoyle and Valkyrie, because of all these members, we need a better version of Valkyrie, because we have one that Hasbro did in their original take on the line, and she's really scrawny, doesn't quite work out as well. So getting a better version of her would really help. And if you want to get really crazy and wild, you could do another 2-pack of Iceman and Angel, knock them out too. So lots of options with those versions of the defenders. And then another team that Hasbro's kind of started, I think, Humans. Now, this team is ideally suited for this 2-pack formula, because all we need is just really a couple of 2-packs and a deluxe / Build-A-Figure, and we're all set. And we've seen with this Drax, the Destroyer, and Moondragon set, they're not afraid to do more of a deluxe figure packaged in with a regular standard figure. So maybe in the sake of that, we could do a Gorgon, and we could do Crystal. So she's a smaller one, he's a bigger, larger figure. And then Triton, Karnak, do them. Maybe even do Maximus and Lockjaw. So that's another 2-pack option they could do as well. Then for another one, I'm going to keep hammering this one until I finally get these 2 desired figures in my collection, because I really love Beast in this this brown and yellow attire, Jean Grey and her red and yellow. And maybe, just maybe, they could do another Iceman with this power limiting belt, which he had because Loki made his powers go crazy. And then they could also alternate and do another version of Beast if they had to make this a separate release, for my idea of a Beast with the blue head and blue limbs, the hands, the feet, as opposed to a swappable set, like I think would work pretty well in this format. And then maybe a better version of Archangel, because the one we have right now is a little bit smaller, and I know they'd have to retool those great wings, but I think we could get a bigger size, maybe just using that Vulcan mold for Warren Worthington III and his Apocalypse Fourth Horseman gear. So that's a team I think is really easy for them to do with a 2-pack. And then another one are the New Warriors. And right now we still need Marvel Boy. We need Namorita from that original set. But if I want to get greedy, I'd say maybe another version of Night Thrasher and Silhouette, or we could get Nova in his original New Warriors costume, that red / maroon look with his bucket head attire. I think there's so many teams that we could knock out if Hasbro's committed to doing, hey, let's knock out 2-packs and just do this to complete teams. This is a really easy avenue for them to finish teams. And as we've seen with the Cersei, the Black Knight set, the Drax the Destroyer, Moondragon, they're not afraid to actually do the sculpting work. I mean, just take a look at this this Moondragon, this Hyperion and Dr. Spectrum set, where we see all the work they put in to Hyperion here. He's got the actual rivets on his belt piece. The cape here is clasped appropriately. He's got the mask. Dr. Spectrum, maybe he could have used a different sculpt or mold. Maybe he would have been a better fit for that Vulcan mold. But he's got his prism right there. He's got an effect piece that actually makes sense for him. And then with this latest 2-pack, they actually incorporated those new Batarang type pieces for Nighthawk. So I've got those pieces in place. I've got accessories. So they put in the work. And this is a great way for them to complete teams that really need 1 or 2 more members, knock them out. Maybe here's how I get a box, pair him up with Marina, so we knock out Alpha Flight. I mean, the Humans would really benefit from this format as well. There's so many incarnations of the Masters of Evil. We could do a Scourge, and Baron, Helmet Zero, Zemo. Gosh, I'm just totally butchering my poor guy's name. Baron, Helmet, Zemo, and Scourge the Executioner. So we can put them into a 2-pack and knock those guys out. You can do different versions of the Fantastic Four. Then here's another way you can knock out that Outback X-Men team, you give us Colossus with his shirt off and just the trunks and the gauntlet look, pair him up with armored Psylocke or pink, I'm just chilling, not really ready to fight version of Psylocke. That's an easy way to complete that team. You could also use this to do more of the Marauders. You could also finish off Freedom Force with this as well. I mean, if we're going to go hard with these 2-packs, I love it. I want to see more teams completed, and they kind of seem to be doing more of that team focus and not just here two random solo characters. I mean, you know, Jackson Destroyer, Moondragon are related, they're family, so that kind of works and makes sense. And it kind of fills out some more team members on their own. But this is a really great avenue. I wish for them to knock out teams. Shoot, speaking of the Guardians of the Galaxy, we can get Charlie and Nikki as another team that can be completed using this format. Martin X, Alita. We could do this really simple. And I feel like this is the avenue, the approach that Hasbro can do, as opposed to let's slot in one character from a team that you guys have been requesting to get completed for a long time. And then it's like another 5 or 7 ways before we get another team member to join them. Pair them up, match them up, get them out there sooner. This is a way to get the Zodiac, the Serpent Society, more team members as well. I mean, it's just the possibilities for this 2-pack setup is amazing. I just think it's crazy that we're gonna get the Squadron Supreme knocked out before so many of these other classic teams, especially the ones that Hasbro's already started. So those are my 2-pack ideas that I love to see get completed and to help out some of these teams. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.